My fellow traders, I hope you guys had a great weekend. I hope you are off to a good start this week. Before we get into what I got for you today, I want to take a moment and honor all those veterans. I want to thank you guys for your service. I know veterans, they have incredible patriotism, love for their country, a dedicated willingness to serve and sacrifice. I really feel veterans deserve an, more than just one day a year. Every time we wake up and breathe that breath of freedom, and we need to honor the veterans because we owe them a debt that this country could never repay. So just wanted to take a moment and thank all you veterans who may be listening, to thank you for your service. So, the question I've been getting all week: where are you going, Ed? What's next for the average Joe trader? Now that your small account broker is closed, are you going to open a new small account broker, or what are you going to do? So, I made a decision to I closed out SureTrader, and I had two accounts there. One of them I am rolling over to F1, only to go through the process and to see what it's like, see how it's set up, so that people that did make that decision, even though I advised them not to, I can help them out a little bit. So that's the only reason I did it. I don't plan to do much over there, but I have gone through the process, and I talked to one of the officers at CMEG, or Capital Markets Elite Group. Talked to him a couple days this past week, and he took me through the account application process. Told me exactly what I needed. I got all of that to him this morning, and so the ball is rolling there. So I am going to open up another small account. I need to do that because if I'm going to teach you, I need to be in one. Mentoring is you're teaching through personal experience, and the only way I can do that is to be doing the same thing right alongside of you. So I am going through this. It may take a week, and then I turn around and get it funded. But the point is, I need to be there with you, and you need to see that if you're disciplined, you have the right process, the right strategy in place, and you're consistent in executing it, and you have that discipline, that you can grow, and that's the number one priority. But even beyond that, having somebody talk to me and walk me through it, I've never had that with any broker really. But I thought that was pretty neat. But one of the questions, there have been several of you that have been through the application process, and you had questions about some of the things that they asked for. And by looking at that, I realized how serious these guys are in terms of compliance. You didn't get that at SureTrader. Honestly, I don't think they complied with anything, and it finally caught up with them. But it's really, good to know that they're really serious about this. And one of the things that you have to fill out is a W-9 form. And you've got to give them your social security number and your proof of income. And so the reason why you have to fill out that W-9 and give them your social security number or tax ID number is that there is a law that requires foreign financial institutions to report on assets held by their U.S. account holders. If they don't comply to that, their business dealings or their ability to do business in the U.S. will be very restricted. And if you're a financial institution, you want to be able to do businesses in these big countries like the US and Canada and the UK. You want to be able to do that. So you're going to make sure that you're following their rules. So if you set up a new account with a foreign institution, just like CMEG, they're going to ask you for proof of citizenship, which is where the 2 forms of ID came in. You're going to have to provide proof of income, because they are providing you with margin. So they don't want a whole bunch of accounts floating around that aren't really active and they can't be funded. So you gotta understand where they're coming from. Also, if you follow certain guidelines, these companies won't have to go through so many hoops, so to speak. So if they don't solicit you as customers, then there's certain rules they don't have to follow, and certain things that they have to adhere to. So there again, that's why you have to sign that form saying that you were not solicited by this company. Plus, if they do business, okay, the way it reads is they don't solicit business outside their country of organization, and that most of their clients are residents within that country. And obviously SureTrader couldn't do that, but this company can. So it's a really good situation, better than I thought it was. I never took the time to look in it because I didn't really need to. But now that I did, it's really good. But I wanted to share this with you. I will be doing a tax webinar as one of the Wednesday classes here in the next couple of weeks. All before I couldn't talk about it. Now that I'm a licensed financial advisor, I can talk about it and give you certain information. So look for that. That's coming up for one of our Wednesday classes. We'll forego one of the day trading classes and do one on the taxes. But this week we're starting talking about the reversal trades. So we are having a class this week. All right, so as I said earlier, I'm waiting, because I did check the box that I was going to shift over to F1, but I haven't heard anything from them. No, it's been a week and I haven't heard anything. No emails, no nothing. So I had the email and I still haven't received a response, but one of the members did get a response back and shared it with me, and pretty much they're saying that F1 is saying that there's so many people moving over that it's taking them a while. But yeah, I've heard that before. But whatever. But there's some things that I pointed out that I still want to point out to you guys. And the reason why I did not recommend you moving over to this broker, and I recommend you going to CMEG, is this part right here that's highlighted. It says that F1 Trade is incorporated under the laws of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but they're not required to hold any financial service licenses or authorization in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to offer their products and services. So they don't have to have any regulation. They can sell you these CFDs. They're unregulated. That's why they're not legal to be sold in the United States. They can be done outside of the United States, but not in the United States. There's no regulation on it. But this was last week. When I go on there this week, they added another statement here. It says F1 Trade Limited is focused on day trading. Where allowed, transactions are executed as contract for difference, which is CFDs. Otherwise, transactions are executed in a principal capacity. This will probably never happen. Everything will be probably listed as a CFD. You're not buying the underlying asset, meaning you're not actually buying the stock. You're just buying a contract for the difference. And F1 Trade may profit as your counterparty. Well, duh. If you're doing CFDs, they can just allow you to trade. And if you lose money, that's fine. If you start to make too much, your trade will probably mysteriously get closed. But it's definitely, CFDs are a conflict of interest, period. And that's why, another reason why they'll never be legal in the United States. And there's no way you can regulate that. Why you're basically buying something that's worthless. Is what it boils down to. But I wanted to share that because I wanted you guys to understand where I'm coming from. Now I'm going through this process. I want to see what this is about. But, reading this, I pretty much already know. So for you guys that went ahead and joined these guys, for your sake, I hope I'm wrong. All right, so let's take a look at today. Now this morning, it is Veterans Day here. I knew going into the day, we didn't have any really good stocks on earnings. We would probably have half the volume that we typically have. I didn't think that we would get, a whole lot of volume here. So I didn't expect much. The stocks that were on our scan didn't really look good. So I didn't like those stocks. When I logged in to Thinkorswim early this morning, I saw Baba was moving. So we picked up that, and QCOM was moving. So we looked at those two. Those two looked like they had some pretty good opportunities there. So those are the ones we put on watch. So at the open, I kind of gravitated to Baba because of the big move. Now, they did have some positive news come out, but the stock was selling off. So you knew there was something at work here. But if you pay attention to the chart and you trade the chart, you're usually going to stay on the right side of things. And so we got the first 5-minute candle here. And yeah, once we broke the pre-market low, I was itching to just jump in. And a lot of times you can jump in and you get lucky. But I don't want to do that. That's not the way I trade. So I waited. It took a lot, but I waited patiently. And the stock opened here and started to sell. And we sold pretty good through the 5-minute open range low. So I got in here. It almost made it down to my target, but it quickly got bought back up. This candle opened. Now, had it made a higher high, I probably would have taken this off and then waited for the reset. But it didn't. This candle opened, it bumped up a little bit, and then it started to sell. A nice sell right down to the first target. And then we just couldn't get to the next one. Then the next target for me was around 181. I think it would have been 181.25 or something like that. But we couldn't get it. It went right back up and stopped me out at break even. And then we couldn't push the 5-minute again. So as we were coming back, I went ahead and shorted it again. Right here. And I thought, hey, we're going to come down and take out the low and all of this. And it didn't. This level here decided to hold up. And it held up. we had this candle here. Typically, we see this when a candle hits bottom, when a stock hits the bottom of a big sell-off. So we usually call this a reversal hammer. But what I saw on this was this candle was selling pretty good, and it hit something, and it got aggressively bought up. And then this candle opened, we had a little dip, and this kept, aggressively got bought up. And so I felt a trend change coming. So you draw the trend line here, you can see we made a higher low, and we held this support. So once we got over the 9, I was like, good. I didn't really care about the VWAP here. I don't respect it that much, to be honest with you. I was looking at the 20 here for a potential target. But what happened was the 20 pulled in just a little bit too much by the time we got to it. So I tried to wait to see if we were going to work our way over it before I took profit here. And finally, we got over it. I took some here between the 20 and the 50. So I was waiting for it to get up to this level before I took profit, since we had broke through the 50. Had we started pulling back, had we rejected here, I probably would have taken it off and tried to buy it on the bounce. But it made this move. I just left that last piece on, and then we hit the target here, was able to take some off. But I got spooked out here. It ran into the 100 period, which I had a target just on the other side of the 100. And it looked like it got stuffed here. And then we had this aggressive selling candle that kind of spooked me out. We broke the low of this candle. We broke the low of this candle. I took it off. And sure enough, it turned around and it made the move. It would have hit my final target here. But I waited and bought the bounce. Once we got back over the 100, I got it. And we ended up pulling back to the 100 and then finally made the move up to the 200. Pulled back, consolidated a little bit, made the move up to this next level. It's 186.50. I had these orders sitting out. But we couldn't make it up to 187. And once we lost the 20 and the 200 and all that, went ahead and killed it. But really nice trade. Again, we locked into one stock. The market was a little choppy. It was a little uncomfortable, which is why, I went from 500 to 300 shares. The choppiness just had me a little concerned, and that I might need to give it a little bit more room in order for it to work. But everything worked out. So nice day. Just what we like. I think we maximized the amount of this move here. We recognized the price action was changing trend. We jumped on the bounce and took just what the market gave us. And this is what I mean by and we only traded 2 strategies. We traded the opening range and we traded the trend continuation. And that was it. 2 strategies. All right, so you guys that were in the swing watch list session yesterday, you saw ACAD was on our watch. Or if you got the email, the market analysis email with the swing watch list attached, then you saw this stock prominently on there. What it did, we pulled back and came back through the 20 EMA, and that alerts us to a potential setup, and it triggered at the open today. We talked about the trigger in the session yesterday. The trigger is the same for all strategies. It's the same for all three of my swing trade strategies. The setup's different, but the trigger is going to be the same. So it triggered, and we look for these to get to the 52-week high. But this one was so close. I'm looking for it to go on up through 46, up to around 47. My final target is 50 on this. I think when we hit the half century mark, this thing is going to come down. But I had a profit stop at 47.50. I'll probably put that out tomorrow. Looking forward to this continuing to move up. I don't want to see this turn around. I don't want to see this open lower. I want this momentum to continue. But even if we get the first target at 47.50, that would be a huge win. You're talking about 4 points. And then we'll be looking for another 2.5. But these swing trades are short-term swings. I'm looking to trade them 2 to 5 days. These are not made to hold overnight. Now, you can trade these same strategies using an all-day hold. The same 3 swing strategies, you can get in. If it triggers, get in and just hold it to the end of the day or until it takes you out. But the trick is you cannot trade it on a 5-minute chart. You have to use a 1-hour chart, a 60-minute chart. And it'll be an all-day hold. If you try to trade it on a shorter time frame, it will chop you out. You will take the trade off, and you will be sick and mad at yourself for not catching this, the rest of the move up. So you can easily do that. You just get in the same trigger as the swing. You just hold it all day. The first time a 1-hour candle makes a lower low, you kill the trade. And that's all you do. Now, yeah, it may turn around and go back up, but it will probably chop around and not really give you much. So the thing is, you want to make sure if you make a lower low, so right here would have been the exit, and you'd have been done for the day. So that in itself is a possibility. But that's about it. That's all we got for today. Just looking for this swing to continue to move up, and tomorrow we're going to get back after it. See if we can. We should have some better stocks reporting earnings tomorrow. There's only 10% of the stocks in the S&P 500 left to report earnings, so there's not a whole lot of the big guys. But when we get good news plays like we did with Baba, that has a decent catalyst, and this gapping in the morning, it's got some volatility, that's all we need. So good start to the week. See if we can keep this momentum going. And, I'm going to keep you posted on the progress on the CME group. Now, I'll probably be in this account for the rest of the month. And I know you AJT fund guys are going to love it. You're going to break my pocket this quarter. But, I want to keep trading. I want to stay active. And I also I don't want to rush getting this other thing online. So that's where we're going to be. So you guys have a great night, a great evening, and I will catch you tomorrow.